yeah, so if there's like a gradient like this one, I really like this. This is something I feel like Union Church would probably have a background that's similar. You could like the first one is kind of similar to what I just showed you. You can always just look at Canva. It's a great place to find backgrounds. If you can't find it on here, try Adobe Express. I think this is a great website. Once again, I'll probably have a link available for you to just see or just have direct access to this website. Log into our Adobe account so you can access this and all the premium content, and just look through. Make your searches specific. If you're looking for a specific color, just go ahead and do that. You'll notice that in my searches, I usually have gradient in the search bar. That's because if I'm looking back at what other churches do, their stuff is usually multicolored. So different colors mixed together, creating a gradient. And yeah, now that I'm looking at Union Church, if you look at, look again, switch your lens, you can see how the background kind of incorporates what the title is saying. So switch your lens. In the background, you have like a techie, camera-y background. You get what I'm saying? So when you're looking at the title of the message, sometimes you want your background to reflect that. So yeah, it's great to try and incorporate what the title is into your background. If you can't, that's totally fine. But yeah, just use websites like these that have texture and color. Texture, color is very important because we want to create depth. I think I talked about this in my other tutorial. Creating depth is super important, super important to making a good thumbnail. So this stands out to me just because there's a lot going on here. There's texture, there's color. And I probably wouldn't just have this as my background. Let me show you another example. So if we go to this one, if I go to this one right here, peace be with you, the blue one with the fish, you can see how peace, I use the fish, which represents peace in Christianity. And you can also see that there's clouds in the background. So those things came to mind when I heard the sermon title, and I decided to incorporate that. So I don't just have a bluish white background. I put clouds on top of it, and I put, other things just to add depth to it. So you got to do more than just have a nice gradient background. Sometimes the gradient is enough. Like if I look at this one, it's just a background. That's it. I didn't add too much to it, and that's fine. Sometimes it really depends on what you're capable of doing, depending on how much time you have. I think that week I didn't have much time to do more, so I was just doing something very basic. Once again, for your first thumbnail, I recommend doing something very basic. But yeah, going back to the websites that I use, Canva, Adobe Express, Google Images sometimes has good ones. Sometimes they're not the best, but sometimes you can find really good backgrounds. Just be specific with your searches. Obviously, use the font or another font website to find cool fonts that you can incorporate. And texture, you can always use Texture Labs. I'm sure there's more texture websites, but this is the main one that I use. Let's say I wanted to add a glass texture. I can find a nice glass texture and just add that to my background. Usually when I add texture, I usually lower the opacity. Once again, this goes back to the graphic design assignments. Just lower the opacity so it's not completely covering your background. So yeah, these are just a couple things that I use in order to make my thumbnails. And you just have to just try and be creative, try and be different. Okay, so one more thing that I'll add to this tutorial is that YouTube is your best friend. If there's something that you don't know how to do in Illustrator, just type it into YouTube and most likely it will come up. Like there was a time, when I started using Illustrator, I had no clue how to use it. I YouTubed everything and that's how I learned. So you can do the same thing, honestly. Like if I wanted to learn how to do 3D text, Illustrator. And that's how I learned. Like this is the video that I used to learn how to do 3D text, and it's so simple. And like there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube that you can learn how to do and just elevate your thumbnail like that. So don't be afraid to just YouTube stuff and learn that way. I believe in you guys. I know we got some creative people in this team, so I know you can even make better thumbnails than the ones that I've made here for sure. So yeah, just go for it. Be patient. If you run into trouble, just send me a text or call me and I should be able to help. But yeah.